Tuscaloosa to frenzy.
It's caught. It's caught.
We talked about Alabama.
Alabama reaches the college cut for the first time.
The first soccer championship in school history.
Roll Tide and welcome to the Crimson Tide production studio right here inside of Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Kenzie Hughes, joined by my co-host Shaw Pryor. Shaw, it's good to have you. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. I'm always excited to be here, but this week I'm even more excited to talk about the success the Crimson Tide had.
Absolutely, because it was a great weekend in Tuscaloosa, Shaw. The Crimson Tide went 10-0 in home matchups here in Tuscaloosa, and one of those was a big win for the first-place team in the SEC, the Alabama men's basketball team.
Along with that victory, the Crimson Tide unveiled a new look for their matchup against Texas A&M Aggies, with a little throwback look for their uniforms. It was a back-and-forth game in the first 5 minutes until the Tide went on a 12-2 run, capped by this three-pointer from Sam Walters to take an 11-point lead at 21-10. The Aggies battled back and cut the lead to 4 with just over 6 minutes to go in the half, but the Crimson Tide closed the half out on a 17-7 run to hold a 14-point lead at the break, 49-35. In that first half, Alabama knocked down 8 three-pointers, with Mark Sears leading the way with 16 first-half points.
In that second half, Texas A&M cut Alabama's lead to single digits at 56-47, just over 5 minutes into the second half. But a 17-5 run by the Tide finished with a three-pointer from Latrell Wrightsell Jr. put Bama up by 21, 73-52. Another Wrightsell three, just over a minute and a half to go, gave Alabama their biggest lead of the game at 27, 97-70. Alabama already with 9 100-point games on the season. Could the Tide make it 10? It may or may not have taken a couple of tries, but on the third one, Davin Cosby Jr. drained this shot from beyond the arc to give the Crimson Tide 100 as the Tide rolled to the 25-point win over the Aggies. A great dominating victory for the Crimson Tide, a 25-point win over a team that's projected to be in the NCAA tournament.
Mark Sears finished with a game-high 23 points, his 16th 20-point game in the season, and the SEC's leading scorer also added 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Rylan Griffin added 17, and Latrell Wrightsell Jr. added 16, all of those coming in the second half.
Aaron Estrada and Sam Walters each scored 11, with Walters adding a team-high 8 boards.
This win put the Crimson Tide in sole possession of first place in the SEC.
That's right, and on Wednesday night, Alabama had a tough midweek game at home against the Florida Gators, who were just 2 games behind Alabama for the lead in the SEC. There were 2 ties and 11 lead changes in the first 9 minutes of the game, with Florida holding a 20-18 advantage. Florida led by as many as 8 in the first half, as the Gators held a 4-point lead at the half, 41-37.
A Grant Nelson dunk and one at the 17:56 mark of the second half tied the game at 44, but Florida quickly grabbed the lead back. An Alex Condon 3 put the Gators back up by 9, 63-54. And then a Walter Clayton Jr. 3 gave the Florida the double-digit lead at 72-62.
But the Tide battled right back and finally took their first lead of the second half with 4:25 to go on this 3 from Mark Sears. That made it 77-76 Crimson Tide. From there, it was back and forth until the final seconds. With the score tied at 85, Alabama had the ball with a chance to win it, but we couldn't get it to go, sending it to overtime.
Tied at 85 to begin overtime, and Alabama came out and scored 7 straight points to jump out to a 92-85 lead. Then, Walton Clayton Jr. scored 6 straight for the Gators, and a jumper from Alex Condon made it just a 1-point lead for the Crimson Tide. But this layup coming from Aaron Estrada with 7 seconds to go put Bama back up by 3, and Mark Sears added a couple free throws for the Tide to hold on for the 5-point win against 24th-ranked Florida Gators, 98-93. Grant Nelson, he led the way for the Crimson Tide with 22 points, 8 rebounds, and a career-high 6 block shots.
We're figuring out ways to win. If you're going to win a league championship, which we're obviously in the hunt for now with 5 games left, these are the games that you got to figure out ways to win, even when you don't play well. I mean, we were 2 for 18 from 3 at the half, and we were within striking distance. You know, it was only 4 points. And then we got down even bigger. I know we were down 10 at some point late in the game, 8 minutes, somewhere in there. And we figured out a way. We came to the huddle, kind of like Georgia. We said, listen, man, we're going to figure out a way to win this game.
You heard Coach Oates say it. Alabama found a way to win, and the NCAA Tournament Committee is recognizing that as they released their early top 16 seeds, and the Crimson Tide came in as a top 3 seed, number 9 overall. The Tide is also 13th in this week's Associated Press and coaches' polls of top 25.
Kinsey, that's the Tide's highest ranking this season. This Saturday, Alabama will travel to Lexington to take on the 17th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats in Rupp Arena. Tip-off is at 3 o'clock on CBS.
TideTV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
What a scene in Coleman Coliseum.
Whoever shows up needs to be as loud as they can possibly be.
It is just as loud here at Coleman Coliseum tonight.
But Alabama able to battle and fight and dig down and show toughness and grit.
I thought that the crowd was unbelievable.
I'm telling you, this place is rocking right now.
Alabama fans at Coleman Coliseum have been so good all year long. These fans deserve it.
Welcome back to the Crimson Tide Production Studio, right here inside of Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Kinsey Hughes, along with Shaw Pryor, who's sitting in for Roger Hoover this week. And Shaw, it was the start of an era here for the Crimson Tide this past weekend, as the Rob Vaughn era is officially underway.
It was, Kinsey, and Coach Vaughn and the 19th-ranked Crimson Tide opened the season here at home with a 3-game series against Manhattan College.
In Game 1, Alabama picked up 4 runs early on, 2 in the first and 2 in the third. Pitching was the story of the game as the Tide shut out the Jaspers. Starter Ben Hess struck out 9 through 4 innings, and Hagan Banks and Braylon Myers combined to close out the game. Banks struck out 5 as the Crimson Tide pitchers allowed just 2 hits in Alabama's 4-0 win in their season opener.
The Crimson Tide's offense was red hot on Saturday with 15 runs without a single home run. The Tide did hit 5 doubles with 2 from TJ McCants, and Matt Cassetti led the Tide with 4 RBIs. On the mound, Riley Quick picked up the win as 5 pitchers combined for 10 strikeouts while allowing only 1 hit as Alabama secured the series win with a 15-0 win in Game 2.
The Crimson Tide got the sweep in Game 3 on Sunday. The offense belted 5 home runs from 5 different players, with one of those being an inside-the-parker from freshman Justin LeBron. Aiden Moza got the win, and Alton Davis pitched 2 scoreless innings to pick up his first save of the season, as Alabama got the series sweep in the season opener under new head coach Rob Vaughn.
I thought our energy was great. I just didn't think we played an awesome brand of baseball defensively. But man, that's why you got some opening weekends to kind of get that going, and we did enough offensively and got to turn over to the big man at the end and watch him do his thing. And it's a big comfort when you know you have him sitting there in the pen ready to close it out if it gets tight. So wish we could have played a tick better to finish up the weekend, but happy to get out of here with 3 wins and keep getting ready and turn our attention to Middle Tennessee on Tuesday.
Rob Vaughn's crew returned to action on Tuesday night with a 6-1 win over Middle Tennessee. With 1 on in the third, TJ McCants hit one over the left field wall for the 2-run shot. Bryce Evelyn and Gage Miller each added solo shots in the 8th for insurance runs. Austin Murray picked up the win, and Braylon Myers got the save as the Tide improved 4-0 on the season.
And on Wednesday night, the Crimson Tide got another run rule victory, this one against Alabama State. TJ McCants again had the big hit on this night with a grand slam into right field. The Tide pitching staff scattered 4 hits across 7 innings as Zane Adams picked up the win, and the Crimson Tide run-ruled the Hornets 12-0.
And in his Crimson Tide debut, shortstop Justin LeBron was named the SEC Freshman of the Week. LeBron led the team with a .667 batting average on the weekend, tying for the league high. LeBron also hit an inside-the-park homer, and according to our records, he's just the 2nd player in Crimson Tide history to hit an inside-the-park homer for his first career home run.
With the weekend sweep to begin the season, Alabama moved up 2 spots in this week's ranking to 17th. This weekend, the Tide remain at home with the 3-game series against Valparaiso at the Joe.
Just beyond the right field wall at the Joe, the Alabama women's basketball team hosted their in-state rival this past Sunday at Coleman Coliseum.
Auburn jumped out to a 37-29 lead at the half and led 52-42 after 3. However, the Tide exploded for 25 points in the 4th while holding Auburn to just 9 to earn them a 67-61 come-from-behind win.
Sarah Ashley Barker eclipsed the 1,000 career point mark as she had a game-high 26 points and 7 rebounds. 10 of those 26 came in that big comeback in the fourth quarter. 2 more scored in double figures, with Aaliyah Nye adding 17 and Jessica Timmons, who finished with 13.
Kenzie, that was a big win for Christy Curry's squad as they improved to 20-7 on the year and 7-5 in the SEC. The Tide is currently a 9 seed in ESPN's latest bracketology.
And we haven't shown you highlights yet because we wanted to take you all access for that big win over the Auburn Tigers. So here you go, all access with the Tide for that big win inside Coleman Coliseum.
And so now if you're Alabama, this is where you just got to fight. Auburn has taken it to you multiple times. They've gone on runs. You could argue they've been the tougher team for longer stretches. But this is an Alabama team that has shown that they can battle back. They've shown that they have the grit when things get hard. It's hard right now. You got to show that grit and do something special in this fourth quarter to take down your in-state rivals.
Aaliyah, you guys were down with 5 minutes left, and you guys came back for a 6-point win. What do you think that's saying about the team, the program?
I think the LSU game was really our test. I think today we had that same opportunity to just either come together or separate, and I think today we came together and we fought.
And then lose it. Taken by Barker. Layup good, and she's fouled.
Dealt with pressure, and the ball will stay with Alabama.
See, Alabama's definitely picked up their intensity.
Kick out Timmons. Shot fake, she'll drive. She's got room. Layup good off the left side. Threw it down low, and it's stolen by Nye. And it's a jump ball with the possession arrow favoring Alabama. Kick, Weathers, right corner 3 up. She hits it. Had to have it. Is starting to get real crazy as Nye steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
It's a screen for Barker. Barker got it again and one again.
Right side, Barker all the way to the rack. Layup rolls in. It's Nye. Left corner 3 is up. She got it.
Huge shot there by Nye. Great job. It all started by Newman.
Timmons right to the rim. Got it.
And drives, kicks, Nye, right corner 3. She hits it. Could that be the dagger?
The possession, Aaliyah Nye. Possibly the dagger for Alabama.
Alabama prevails after a fourth quarter for the ages. The Tide gets revenge on Auburn, 67-61.
And for the first time since 2010, the Alabama Crimson Tide is an NCAA region.
Here today as we introduce Rob as the next head coach of Alabama baseball.
I don't need to sell Alabama.
Start the party for the right field Rangers.
This program has laid the foundation. Now it's time for us to knock down the gates of Omaha. And we're going to do that here real soon.
Welcome back to the Crimson Tide Production Studio inside of Bryant-Denny Stadium. He is Shaw Pryor, I am Kenzie Hughes, and this is TideTV This Week.
Yep, it is, and the 9th-ranked Alabama gymnastics team took part in a rare Monday meet this week in Denton, Texas. It was actually a quad meet with the Texas Women's University, Arkansas, and Arizona. Lily Hudson started things off on the beam as she recorded a season-high tying score of 9.825. Hudson then led the Tide again on the floor as she won the event with a 9.975 to lead Alabama to a season-high event in the floor total of 49.55.
Makari Doggett captured the vault title as she posted a season-high 9.9. 3 gymnasts posted scores of 9.925 or higher to finish with a season-high tying score of 4.96. Competing in the all-around for only the second time in her career, Gabby Gladio scored her first all-around title with a 39.525.
In their second quad meet of the season, the Crimson Tide finished with a season-high 19.75-675. Alabama stays in the top 10 this week as the Tide ranked 10th just behind UCLA.
The Alabama softball team made their home debut this past weekend as Team 28 hosted the Easton Bama Bash. For more on this week's action, our Mary Reagan Bullock has all the action from Rhodes Stadium.
After a perfect weekend at the Buzz Classic in Atlanta to start off the season, 11th ranked Alabama softball made their 2024 home debut this past weekend, hosting 3 teams for the Easton Bama Bash. Alabama took on St. Thomas in Virginia on day 1. Riley Valentine scored the first run in Rhodes Stadium this season with this home run blast to left field off the scoreboard. 3 batters later, it was Callie Hevelin's turn. Hevelin roped one off the wall in the gap in right center. Coach Murphy waved Hevelin around to third, and she slid in safe for the inside the park home run, the 12th in Crimson Tide history. Jayla Torrance picked up the win as the Tide won the game 7-3. Alabama took on Virginia in the night gap. Lauren Esmond got a big hit with this 2-run shot over the wall in center. Kayla Beaver went the distance as she pitched 7 scoreless innings as the Crimson Tide defeated the Cavaliers 3-1. Alabama took on the same 2 teams on Saturday, and it was almost an exact repeat of Friday. Against St. Thomas, Alabama started off with bases loaded walk from Valentine to make it 1-0 in the first. In the 5th, Larissa Pruitt hit a beautiful fly ball to deep right, but the Tommies outfielder couldn't handle it, allowing Kendall Clark to round to third and score, ending the game with the mercy rule 7-0 Alabama. For the Tide's second matchup against the Cavaliers, with the score 1-0, Bailey Dowling crushed the Cavaliers' pitch over the wall and left, but the Crimson Tide up 2-0. Up by a single run in the 7th, 3-2, Kayla Beaver closed out the game with her second save of the weekend to give Alabama the 3-2 win. Coach Murphy's squad wrapped up the final day of the Eastern Bama Bash on Sunday, picking up a 2-0 victory over Southern Indiana. Alabama scored both of their runs in the first inning off a bases-loaded walk from Kinley Cahalan and a sac fly off the bat of Riley Valentine. After an injury to pitcher Lauren Esmond in the first inning, Aaliyah Johnson took over and finished the game to pick up the win with a career high of 6 strikeouts. For the second tournament in a row, the Crimson Tide finishes with a perfect 5-0 record and sits 10-0 for the season. Reporting from Rhodes Stadium, I'm Mary Reagan Bullock with TideTV.
A couple of long brawls propelled the Tide to a win on Wednesday night against North Alabama. Abby Dubscher hit a 2-run shot over the wall in the first, then in the third, Emma Broadfoot cranked a 3-run blast over the left wall as well.
On the mound, Jayla Torrance only allowed 1 run on 2 hits, striking out 6 as Alabama improved to 11-0 with the 9-1 win in 6. Alabama is ranked 10th in 2 of the 4 polls and 11th and 12th in the others. This weekend, the Tide make the short trip to Birmingham to take part in the Green and Gold Classic.
The Crimson Tide picked up a top 5 win in New York. We'll tell you which team got the win coming up next right here on TideTV This Week.
Your fan base is one like no other. All right, that's for real. What you got here, your home field advantage is for real.
In front of a full house at the Rhodes House.
Back it goes to the wall, and it's gone!
A miracle comeback for the Crimson Tide.
How about some noise at the Rhodes House tonight?
And the Crimson Tide will ride this season's wave all the way to the World Series.
Welcome back to TideTV This Week. The 21st ranked Alabama men's tennis team took part in the ITA championships this past weekend in New York. Alabama dropped their first match to 10th ranked Columbia 4-0.
The Tide bounced back with a big upset of 5th ranked Southern Cal. After the Trojans captured the first double point, the Tide answered back with 4 straight wins in singles play to upset number 5 USC 4-1.
And after capturing a pair of singles and doubles victories at the ITA National Indoor Championships, Philip Planishek was named the SEC Men's Tennis Player of the Week.
The Alabama women's golf team finished play at the Moon Golf Invitational on Tuesday. Tied for 13th place, Sarah Edwards led the Crimson Tide in the final round of the event, finishing tied for 28th overall with a 4 over 220. Her 14th career top 30 finish.
And Thomas Ponder finished 4th overall at the Watersound Invitational in Panama City, Florida to lead the Crimson Tide. Ponder ended the event with a season best score of 8 under par as Alabama finished in 10th place with a team total of 4 over par.
Don't go anywhere. We've still got a lot to cover, including our plays and players of the week, coming up next right here on TideTV This Week.
TideTV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
And for the first time since 2010, the Alabama Crimson Tide is an NCAA region.
Here today as we introduce Rob as the next head coach of Alabama baseball.
I don't need to sell Alabama. This program has laid the foundation. Now it's time for us to knock down the gates of Omaha, and we're going to do that here real soon.
And Justin LeBron is the hitter. Going back on it is Mayer, and it is off the wall. And rounding third, coming home is an inside the park home run for Justin LeBron.
That's well struck, and heading for the gap. Off the wall, and Heflin is heading for third. Patrick Murphy waves her around. Kelly Heflin has an inside the park homer.
Sears no luck, out in the finish. Cosby, why not? Give him 100. I'm winding down. Nye beats the clock. Alabama back by 3. Aaliyah Nye, possibly the dagger for Alabama. And now Nelson. Wow! Deep from Gordo, and he flushed it right on his head. There's Pringle.
Yep.
And it's in Lasaro's hands for a 3-pointer.
Those are our plays of the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
Now, let's take a look at our players of the week. And we get to add a new sport this week to our players of the week, baseball. And how can we not go with the SEC Freshman of the Week, who was tied after the weekend with the highest batting average in the SEC at a .667. LeBron also hit a home run and inside the Parker.
The SEC's leading scorer for the Crimson Tide scored again in the win over Texas. Mark Sears finished this game with 23 points in his 16th 20-point game of the season.
And for the women, Sarah Ashley Barker eclipsed the 1,000-point mark for her career in the win over Auburn. Barker finished with a game-high 26 points as she led the Crimson Tide to victory.
Philip Planasek led the Crimson Tide to the upset win over 5th-ranked USC at the ITA Championships in New York. Planasek went undefeated on the weekend, winning both doubles and singles matches. He was also named SEC Men's Tennis Player of the Week. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Tide TV this week. We'll see you next week right here, same time, same channel.
You can also watch us online at RollTide.com and on our official UA Athletics page on YouTube. See you next week, everyone. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,